Welcome back to both Aunt Vivs and our instant reaction live stream. Please welcome our panel of experts.
Happy Wednesday, all. I know you thought you were rid of us, but you were not. We came back for one more live stream talking about Snowfall. We just can't get over the fact that it's gone. And this week we have joining us Tanae, our usual suspect, and we have Sean coming from behind the screen, our producer, actually coming onto the camera. So I'm going to be bothering the hell out of him because I very rarely get to do this.
Oh boy.
Listen, you're behind the camera for two things that I do, so now I finally get to do this in person. But yeah, it's been a week. I actually can't believe that there's snowfall tonight. Like, can I believe it? I was like, okay, we're doing the live stream. And I was like, oh, we're doing a live stream for last week's episode to talk about it again because there's no episode this week. So we've had a week to think about it. We possibly rewatched episodes. I know I did. Today I'm going to start with you. Sean, I'm going to give you a break for now. Today I'm going to start with you. What, now that we're a week after you really kind of were like indifferent. I think you were still processing the fact that it was like over. What are your thoughts now? What is your reactions to the finale?
I think it ends how every drug situation should end. Somebody's dead, somebody's going to jail, people are on a run. Like, it's how it's supposed to end. I didn't think it was going to end that way for Franklin. Like, I think for me, it always was he was probably going to die or be in jail. But I did see like some TikTok say, like, what makes this so interesting is that he's the person that walks around on the street that's a drug addict or alcoholic that's telling you, hey, I used to live this life, and you like, yo, you're lying. So I just, like, to me, it's like how mysterious this story could be, and I think the way it ends kind of leaves it like that.
No, I don't know, Tanae. You're still kind of keeping it open ended though. You're not saying if you liked it or not. Like, you don't trick us. Like, was it a good? Was it a W?
This is when it comes down to series finales. This is not one of my favorites. I think what the only parts for me that makes it my favorite is the scenes where, like, what Franklin has with Leon. Like, I love those scenes. I love that scene. But I really think they dragged it out. They could have taken Oso's and Louie's pieces and put them in the episode before and made this a much shorter episode, or make it a much shorter episode.
Yeah, I know, Tanae, I'm sure I'm going to get to you, but because Tanae said that, I am going to say what my reaction was. I hated it last week. I hated it. I thought it was up there with Game of Thrones finale, and we all know how much everybody hated that Game of Thrones finale. I still have nightmares about it every once in a while. But, Tanae said something that we saw a screenshot of. I think Sean, you sent it to us. And it said, the show was excellent. It literally showed all the outcomes of the drug game. Prison for Sissy, death for Jerome, on the run, constantly looking over your shoulder for Louie, lost everything, and making it out the game. Well, I mean, Franklin lost everything, and making it out the game is Leon. And for me, that brought it down from 0 out of 10, boo, tomato, tomato, I hate it, to, okay, still not my favorite. Still, I'm on par with Tanae now. Still not my favorite, but also I see what they were doing, and I appreciate that they gave us a view of all the aspects. And even making out the game, Leon, you could still see that there were really big consequences for him. Okay, Sean, we never got your actual reaction to the finale, so you have to give us your reaction from last week and then tell us now if you still have the same reaction from last week. So now you got to go twice.
Okay. All right. That's fair. So, I mean, last week I was closer to everybody, the consensus opinion, where I was like, what did I just watch? Like, that didn't. Sean said it the best, actually. He was like expecting more fireworks. I was definitely expecting like something big to happen, like whether it's like, you know, a death or a shootout, something. I was expecting something big because that's how finales go usually. So I was a little bit on that fence a little bit, but I did not enjoy it. Like, Siobhan, you said Game of Thrones. That's like the worst insult you could give any show, is saying it hit a Game of Thrones finale level. So.
I think I was emotional. I was pissed.
You were. We got the video evidence that you'll get to later that we to prove it.
What we should do, we should actually go to the reactions from last week so we can get refreshed and see what's going on. And then I'm going to circle back to make sure if you have the same reaction. Like, once we all see it, I'm going to see if you still feel the same, Sean.
All right.
This is how we end the episode, the whole thing. Like, I needed some more fireworks or some. I mean, so I binge watched this thing like in a month and a half, all 6 seasons. This is like, I need some time back in my life.
For me, this is going to go down as one of the worst series finales. In television history. I'm stamping it. I'm stamping it as one of the worst.
I'm not the biggest fan of how it ended. But the season was great. That last episode just wasn't it.
This is giving me Game of Thrones series finale. That's what this finale is ass.
It's ass.
Y'all dragged it.
I didn't even remember saying it was ass. So that's I think I might need this. I might need somebody to just play clips of me saying things and reminding me what I say, because I definitely don't remember.
We can make that happen because that's entertainment, so we can do that.
Well, actually, I would be an embarrassment to my family. But okay, Tanae, you were still chill. You have to defend your husband. He's not here, so you have to defend your husband. What's up?
So I think I agree with him. If I would have sat and binge watched it the way he did, like, you really have to. So for context, the day I started and he found out we were doing these live reactions, he was like, oh, I want to be in. I want to be a part. So he instantly started watching. So he watched all of that stuff in like 3 weeks. So to take in all of that content, and there's high stakes every single time. It's like, okay, I just got off of what exactly? So I get where he's at, and the fact that like it's a lot of information to have to process. And I think even when you think about like how some other series have ended, this one, I mean, and I'm talking about drug series, like this one was kind of like, yikes.
Yeah, this was not a good one. Okay, Sean. So
I mean, I'm on the Sean camp, and especially last week because I binged it too. Like, I binged it specifically because I knew we would be doing this content. So, but I always had it in the back of my mind because I heard great things. And then once I binged it, once I got up to like season 4, I was just kind of like, all right, it's good, but it can end now. And 5 felt stretched. 5 felt like a stretch for me. 6 was great, and then
4 was when he hung the cane up, right?
Yeah, that was the end of 4 when he hung the cane up. So everything between that and what we saw this season felt a little stretched out. So yeah. So I was like, all right, this show was a little overhyped for me. So I had low expectations going in to the finale. And then, you know, it was instant, right? We went off the air. We came right on the air. So I didn't get a chance to process, and I'm slow. So stuff doesn't hit me like the whole reference to Boys in the Hood. Like, I missed that. That shit went right over my head. So yeah, I was in Sean's camp. I was expecting more fireworks last week. I didn't think it was ass. I didn't think it was ass. I thought it was like a 6. I'm going to give it a number. I thought it was a 6 last week. But since processing it now, seeing the stuff online like Tanae referenced, and I rewatched it a couple times, like, it's like a 9 for me right now, honestly. So
9? That's high.
A 9. Yeah.
That went out of 10?
Just because 9 out of 10, yeah, because just everything, it built a lot off of the... It built a lot.
He's like, not a 9 out of 100.
Yeah, like 9 out of 100 is what y'all is ass. That's ass. But no, like, it built around the premiere. It built around the premiere, like stuff that we saw in the first episode. It went full circle. The conversation with him and Mel in in Cho's shop where he's like, I want to be free. Everything. There was so many things I couldn't even think of right now that like really brought it full circle throughout the series. So that's why I think it's a 9. That's just my opinion. And I understand why people don't like it because I binged it and I did feel flat in the moment. So I understand that. So
understandable. I will say you rewatching, you see how you rewatched it and brought it from a 6 to the 9. Me rewatching and seeing people's opinions and tying in things that I've missed brought it from an ass to a 6. So I think that we are all and on the same page. All right. So, the biggest part, the memes are going around about Franklin. We know Franklin is all over the internet, like his fall from grace, those teeth. You know how I feel about the teeth. They have him like next to Judge Mathis because he was imitating Wanda smoking crack. And they said he was Judge Mathis because Judge Mathis loves to mention how everybody's a crackhead. But do we think that Franklin's friends and family abandoned him? Like, did they leave him out to dry? And Sean, I'm gonna start with you this time.
Okay, no, I don't think so. I think everybody was caught up. I mean, a lot of them were passed away. There's no Jerome. Louie's on the run. Yeah, it's just, I guess they're talking about Sissy, right? Did Sissy leave him high and dry? Maybe, but she thought she was doing what was right for him. So.
Tanae.
So I wanted to be a lawyer is gonna say, yeah, they did leave him high and dry. You can make an argument for how every single one of them left him high and dry. From the fact that Sissy sat and shot Teddy, right? Without waiting to get the passwords. Leon has money and doesn't give him anything.
He pulled the gun on him when he asked.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying, so this is the reality. Like, there's an argument for how every single person left him high and dry, but there's a reason why they left him high and dry. So to the question, did they? Yes. Did they have a reason for it? Yes, also. Like,
who could have really saved them besides Leon, though? Who had the power to do anything for him besides Leon? He had that $3 million. But besides him, could anyone else? And Sissy could have gave him the deed to the house. I'm trying to think of just remembering now what else.
Sissy could have waited till
not killed Teddy.
Yeah, she could have waited till after he got the numbers.
That's true.
And then you also got to think again before you get to this finale. All of this is Louie's fault. I don't care what nobody say. All of this is Louie's fault.
All right, so I want to take a second for Louie real quick. I want to go on a quick Louie rant, and then this will be the last Louie rant I do for the rest of my life because I don't want to smoke, but everyone hates Louie. But
get off your chest.
Rewatching from the beginning, Louie is mad integral in Franklin's success. Like, his first brick, he wouldn't have got off without Louie. He couldn't sell that anywhere, and then Louie brought him to Claudia. When he got locked up, like, Louie was the one who he called to get Teddy to get him out. Like, and I didn't remember through all the seasons how important she was. Like, when she left Jerome and was with Claudia, Franklin was literally begging her to come back, like, every episode, like, yo, come back. We got no senator without you. We need you. I can't do this without you. And I forgot about all that. So just throwing that out there, Louie was, like, very important. And Franklin himself said, yo, I need you. I can't do this without you for a time. So that's all.
And I agree with you. I think she is extremely important. She even is the one that takes the distribution national. Like, no one's discrediting how important she is, but you throw a whole system away because you just want to be the face of a faceless business. Like, nobody wants to be the face of this.
Yeah, you don't have a company representative for drugs. Like, you shouldn't anyway. Like, those who usually do are the ones who usually end up in jail or dead. Like,
Nikki Bond.
Yeah, like literally all of them. And the thing is, like Tanae said, nobody's discrediting Louie. We were all team Louie up until a certain point, and Louie's the reason that like we stopped liking her. Like, we were like, you saw the tweets? Yes, get you a black woman on your team, even for drugs. Like, it was like all of those things. And then here she comes, and she's like power hungry. And you also have to remember the time women still were like struggling to like have, I mean, we don't have equal pay right now, but that's a different conversation. But still to have be higher up in equality than they are. So for her to put in so much work and have the opportunity to possibly put herself in a place of power in which that is not seen of or really heard of in that space, understandable, but it's still fuck Louie. I'm sorry. We can't
Nah, I
focus on
hear you.
for so long.
I hear you. Louie definitely unraveled everything the minute she started buying from Teddy. Nah, I can't deny that. D, I think this is a question for both of y'all. I'm taking over for a second. But nah.
The producer has snatched the cake.
But I want to know your opinions. That's why, because was Louie always this way? I feel like Jerome in the early episodes said something like, she ain't never gonna be satisfied, something like that. I have that in my head. I don't remember the context or anything, but I feel like he said that about her. I think it has something to do with the club probably. But yeah, do we think Louie was always this way, or did she evolve into being this kind of like hungry for power person?
I will say that I think Louie always had, I don't think that she was always that way, but I also think that they made her that way. I think that because even she always was put into that pedestal by Jerome and Franklin. That even they're like, okay, Jerome was fucking with other bitches, and they're like, all right, go get him, Louie. Like, you know, you're the favorite. You know, you mine. Like, no matter what's going on, it's always you. And then Franklin, like, yo, we can't do nothing. After somebody saying we can't do this without you all those times, you're going to believe them. So I feel like she may have had it in her, but it really came out because they were watering the seed, and then now this grew into a monster. Today,
so I think, yeah. So I think that this was in her from the beginning, but I think with all of the characters, how they end up is what was in them from the beginning. I think not Louie. I think Jerome knew who she was. He knew she was always chasing something. He knew that she was never going to be satisfied. Because Sean, I do remember him saying that. Like, she's never going to be satisfied. She's always going to want. She's always chasing this thing. To the point where like it bothers him because like the going national thing, that's not something he really wanted, right? Like, so she's always chasing because she needs to feel important. She needs to feel significant.
Yeah.
Again, it's still fuck Louie, but we're moving on. So
we're moving on.
I will say, I think that they didn't abandon him, but I think that there could have been a middle ground. Like, I feel like there's something that could have been in between. Like, it definitely is fuck Sissy too. Fuck Sissy and Louie. Literally, it's pretty much like fuck all the black women for me, except for Veronique. I wish she would have did this a little differently, but she had to go. He choked her out. She was pregnant. Baby needed oxygen. Really shouldn't have
I
done
never
that.
seen a girl eat a choke like that on TV before. She ain't even like back down or something. She kind of like leaned into it. Like, I respect the shit out of that.
Say this. I don't think that was probably the first time, like character wise, that she got choked out.
That she been in that position.
Yeah, she been in that position before.
Yeah, because remember, she's been in jail. She talked about how all her wild life from before. So she wasn't reacting. She was like, "Oh, I bet." Yeah. She probably was processing the whole plan, and while his hands were around her throat.
And you gotta remember, wait, hold on that. Because like the other thing is the processing also is the reality that her mother trained her for the long game. So you know that that's what was going on.
Yeah, she probably had an escape plan the whole time.
Sure.
To be honest. So she probably knew exactly what she was gonna do with that 800. She was like, I'm gonna use this 100,000 to get us out of here, get us a little house, whatever.
School tuition, 150,000.
Yeah,
wait for that.
Like, yeah, she probably put some in investments. Wow, she knew what she was doing. I'm sure she was out there strategizing right on that plane wherever she was at. But I do think that there could have been another form of support for Franklin. It didn't have to be monetary, but like it wasn't like anybody was like, yo, I'm worried for you. Everybody was kind of like telling Franklin what to do. Sissy was telling him, stop worrying about that money, just kill Teddy, instead of like really like, the only person I think that did it in a way that was like, okay, we are concerned by the way you are money hungry, was Leon. Leon really always was the one who checked on him, made sure he was good. But Leon could only do so much because his wife had left. So now you have to choose between your boy who just pulled the gun out on you, and then your wife who's like, I can't stay here anymore. So you got to dip with her. But Sissy just did not give a damn about what the consequence was, or like even leaving him with any money. Veronique, as like, I feel a way about her not like letting him see his son. That's the only thing I really don't like. I don't like that part. But
are
and
you really letting your kids see an alcoholic?
I
And I'm
mean,
not.
I'm drinking wine right now, so it ain't that
I
far.
mean,
You're not an alcoholic.
I don't know.
that's a great
He
point.
wasn't an alcoholic when she left. She did not know he was an alcoholic when she left. She said she only spoke to him one time, and it was just giving him an update. So my thing is, yes, I get that, but I guess also I see the effects of people who don't have their parents around, like their dad around. So it's like if their dad could have been around and you're keeping them away from him, like that just strikes a nerve. I'm not saying she's right or wrong. She did what's best for her child, and I am not a parent, so I can't.
No,
Whatever.
I mean, I agree with that part too. I just think, I don't know, I just feel like it's more to that piece, because if she's able to get in contact with him, I don't think she's not aware of his state. But I agree with you. I don't think that parent shouldn't be involved in their child's life. I think we both come out of circumstances where we both are clear of the significance of that. But I just think that there's more, like backstory wise, there's got to be more to what and why he's not allowed.
But we end up doing it because there ain't no more story to go back to. But anyway, so we have some tweets. The first tweet was saying that basically, from my life, as Jay said, that all this nigga wanted was his money, and everybody in his life decided he didn't deserve it back after living off of him all these years. That's some BS, man. IDC. I don't care. We also had a YouTube comment that said, I was so hurt nobody wanted to help Franklin when he needed it the most. I think that is the one that I'm the most aligned with. The money one, not so much, because yeah, it's important, but it wasn't everything. But him not having anybody to help him in any way, shape, or form, like he was just alone. The only person who went back to check on him was Leon, and it was already too late. So, and Louie just assumed that he was the cause for all of this. So that's what I think. Tanae, do you have any thoughts on the tweets or comments?
I think the first tweet, I can't really remember exactly what it said, but I am not in agreement with it. I do think, and I'm gonna say this, I feel like people keep dragging this whole concept of individuals not helping Teddy, and I mean not helping Leon, excuse me. Not Leon, Franklin. Jesus. I feel like an old grandmother.
I was
The
like,
name grandchildren.
Teddy ain't getting no help from nobody. The hell?
Basically, I feel like people drag the fact that Franklin not getting help, and I don't think that that's true. I feel like Franklin went to the edge of a cliff and he jumped, and you can't pull somebody back once they've jumped. I think people have attempted to do what they could do, even when you really consider it. Like Louie made sure that she turned over Teddy to him. So it's not like they're not helping. You even got old boy who found peaches for him, right? Like, so it's not, he's not being helped. It's just nobody can help you get what everybody wants you to have, and that's that 73 million. And the
Leon
only
gave
person,
him 20.
and the only person who's able to do that for you is Sissy, but she's not going to do it because she's got a vendetta, and you knew that your mother was crazy. Because you said, like, he says there's a he said one time, Franklin said one time, her pride is what's going to get her in trouble. And her pride is what got her in trouble.
Sissy should have never came. As soon as he said his mother was coming instead of Leon, who is also a drug dealer with him, that's when the math didn't math for me.
That was
Like,
the story. Just that made no sense. Like, I'm gonna come with you so they don't
not
kill
leave
you.
a
What you gonna
woman
do to
with
prevent?
And that, I think that's that piece. If nobody didn't help him, and I would stand in agreement 10 toes down with anybody about that, it would be about Sissy. Sissy didn't help. Everybody else helped to the points where they could, but Sissy was on some, nah, I'm burning all this shit down, excuse my language, and I'm taking everybody with me. And she came into the season with that
She
mentality.
came into the scene with that energy. Yes.
Yeah, she knew that Alton was gone, and she had already aligned herself with the KJB, and she was ready. She like, we burning it down.
See, I agree with you to a point. He got to the cliff and he definitely went over, but I don't think he jumped. I think Sissy pushed him. This would have never happened if Sissy wasn't this catalyst. So she pushed him and he snapped because the life that he'd worked so hard for all these years has now died with Teddy. And he's scrambling to get something to bring him back. That would make me crazy too, to know that I have not a dime to my name. And then he has the $12,000, which is like, I don't know if we talked about it, but the $12,000 that he found with Peaches is actually the amount that he got at the beginning to start the drug, like to start with dealing drugs. So it's like it's full circle. That's why he laughed like that, probably, because he realized he's ending with what he started with.
But I would say that it's Louie and Teddy that push him. It's Sissy that doesn't offer him the rope, because he loses his money because of what Louie and Teddy does, and that whole he can't get it back. He snaps when he kills Teddy's father. You see it in his eyes that he snaps. He's not the same after that. And the only thing that I think would have returned him back to normal was that passcode, and Sissy takes it away. So you're the person that has the string to bring him back. Even that whole mess with Leon, like, I think people do mistake what's happening in that conversation, because he's trying to run game on Leon when he's asking him for that money. That's not.
What do you mean with the whole talking about making him a partner and giving him gold on his money?
Yeah. No, I don't. I completely saw that. Nobody believed he was actually going to give him that money back. Everybody, he was acting like a crackhead. He was acting like the crackheads he sold to. Like, I think everybody saw that.
But I feel like people were upset about that Leon didn't give him any bread. No, that's what I saw. I didn't feel that way.
I feel like Leon would have gave him something, or he would have at least supported him in a different way, like been there for him, been there with him. But I think once that gun hit his face, the barrel, he was looking down a barrel, he was like, nah, now I got to go back to Ghana. It's a dub.
So do y'all really think Teddy was going to give Franklin the money? Because I feel like this has been the topic of conversation since Sissy shot him. And there's a lot of people out there who are like, Teddy wasn't really going to give him that money anyway. It was a fake-ass passcode, a fake-ass phone call. Everything of that shit was fake, a trick to get Franklin. He's always trying to, outsmart everybody, always trying to manipulate.
I actually believe
that money was never coming.
I believe he was giving him the money because, one, he saw Franklin snap. Your chest is peeling off of your body right now because you had hot oil on it. Now is not the time to pump fake. You clearly see that this nigga is not caring about what's going on. So the way he seemed so frustrated with Sissy when she was asking him what jail, he was like, what? Like, he was like, stupid bitch, I made that up. You could tell he was just frustrated because he just wants to give Franklin this money. He's getting his money back. He's not dying. He's getting part of it out of it. He's not dying. Like, he's like, at this point, it's a compromise that he can live with. So I personally think that he was going to give him the money.
I agree with Siobhan. I think when you really pay attention to that scene, and not just that scene, but the scene where they're talking after the whole oil and all of that, and Franklin is saying to him like, yo, you left me with nothing. And I really thought that we were friends and that we were bigger than this. And I think that there's a piece of Franklin that appeals to Teddy, to the humanist side of him, and the fact that like you're looking for something, you felt rejected, but you rejected me, and I thought that we were better than this. And I think that agreement that they're able to spark about like, hey, you ain't got to give me all the money, but at least give me something. And then when Franklin picks up the phone, he's having a real conversation with somebody with passcode. So it's not like this is
we heard the person.
Yeah, like it's not like, oh, it's not going to happen. It's just,
and it's not like he had time to, he didn't have a cell phone. He ain't text nobody. Nobody. He wasn't texting nobody. Like,
yeah, there was no text back then at all.
It wasn't like, yo, I'm about to call you. Act like you the bank person. Like he couldn't have set that up like that.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, I'm gonna play that medium. I think yes, he really was having a real phone call. I think that he probably was gonna give him that money, but then the minute he got away, they were gonna go hunt him down because A, he killed his father, and then B, he tortured him. So I don't think Teddy was gonna let it slide. So I don't think it was scot-free for Franklin. Had he gotten the money, I think they would have probably, tried to get it back or get him. But I still understand why people think Teddy was tricking them, because Teddy is tricky. Like, remember he had like his secretary or whoever, like, pretend to be in the house of the dead lady. Like, he gets tricky with his phone calls. So you will not see him make a call, right, and then there'll be somebody doing a decoy and you don't even know it. So,
but he usually has time to plan it. That's why I didn't think that.
That's true.
But I also would say this though, Sean, I think you bring up a good point about, I think what Sissy offers him is the freedom that once he gets the money, Sissy understands that it's a paper trail. So you've got to account for the fact about why you have these millions of dollars, and if they're not going to take you for drugs, there's tax evasion. Like there's all of these other things, and she just wants to make sure that he is scot-free and he's clean. But yeah.
I'd rather jail than living like Franklin. Put me in jail.
Nah. Franklin was in jail for like 2 days and he got, it was not a good 2 days. Like, not for Franklin. Not if you're Franklin. Maybe you as Siobhan. You probably run the yard as Siobhan, but
I'm gonna go to the next part, but I'm gonna say there's this clip by the podcaster, Don't Call Me White Girl. She's been in jail. She like, jail ain't that bad. You get 3 meals a day. You fuck around with your friends. They give you some TV time. You make some friends. You good in the block. You get your hair cut. If you have enough people giving you commissary money, compared to what Franklin was
getting but that's as a woman. That is not a man giving it up his ass. Like that's not. This is a different world.
All right, Justin, play the clip because now Tanae done escalated it. All right, so let's react to this clip. Since we're talking about Franklin and not his ass, but just Franklin, let's look at the first Franklin and the end of Franklin.
Where y'all going? Drop it, I'll let you go. Let's go, Franklin. What, you a narc now, cuz?
Nah, man, punks are stealing candy.
Shit, nigga, I used to steal candy.
Look how your ass turned out.
Why you care if some little kids is running off with some ring pops, man?
Nah, they gotta learn. Ain't how America work.
I ain't got no fucking chains on me, man.
Hey, I'm free. You my best friend. And I'm fucking proud of you.
That little tear that dropped out his eye gets me every time.
That shit was brilliant. Mm-hmm.
Really, get that man an award, please. Okay. Tanae, thoughts? How do you feel about this? Like, do you see, and is this bringing up anything for you? Because I feel like when you see the clips, you get triggered to remember more things that happen throughout. So
I just feel like I just feel like very emotional watching that last scene, because it just feels like every crackhead that you kind of see in Harlem. And I'm sorry, growing up in Harlem, I think it just hits differently growing up in a space where you've seen how this stuff hits. and like and to know and to have met people who grew up in that age and that era, and for them to tell you stories, it just hits very differently. Like I sit down with my uncles and my aunts all the time and ask them stuff, and it's just like all of this is real. Like there is somebody out there who's like, yo, I was running a block, I held it down, and they don't got nothing now. They struggling to pay rent, right? And so I think it's the craziness of it. I also think that it's interesting that in that first clip, he's telling them not to steal, because it's not the American way or something like that. But yet America, the CIA, stole from him. So,
Sean, thoughts? I mean, I know you've seen the clip, but still to
Yeah, I agree with Tanae. It's very it's sad to watch the ending is sad to watch, and it's sadder to see how far he came from. But I love the bookendingness of it, if that's a word, because they started on the same exact block on the street where it started. They ended on the same exact block on the street where they started. So I just love how that finale. That's why it's a 9 for me.
It's very, very sad to see Franklin go out like that. Like, very, very sad. I think that it's also, to me, the most thing that's prominent to me is Leon. Like how he's like, and look how you turned out, let him fight. And now Leon is the voice of reason. And we've talked about this. I didn't like Leon at the beginning because he was such a hothead. And like Franklin was the person, like the grounding, he was the rock. And now it turned and he's like, I'm proud of you. He's like, you know, you've made this for yourself. And that tear really is just like, you can tell he believes it, he's just not saying it. So I think that what y'all are saying is true, but also just seeing how Franklin acknowledges the person Leon is right now is really what stands out to me.
We had a comment on the YouTube channel. Someone was like, they feel, I'm paraphrasing them obviously because it was longer than this, but they said they feel Leon didn't get any justice or didn't get his, like, what he deserved for the wrong he did. They feel like out of everybody, he deserved to be punished. So, I mean, y'all talked about him kind of having a turning point and not being a hothead anymore. I think him killing Scully's kid is what did it for him. That's where he started, like, changing his mentality. But do y'all agree with that statement? Y'all think he didn't really atone for his sins, or?
Yeah,
I think. Sorry, Joe. I think people look at atonement and think that means that I have to go to jail or I have to die, right? And that's not atonement. Atonement is actually doing a work so that what you've done doesn't recreate itself and revisit itself in the world. And I think he actually is the one that, out of all of the characters, is actually doing atonement. Like he's come back, he's trying to fight the injustices, he's trying to speak to that. And even when he went back to when they came back from Ghana originally, like he's genuinely trying to make atonement. Like he's trying to make sure that the neighborhood is still safe. He's not okay with everything. He's trying to make sure that there are rules and regulations. And even watching, like I watched the Dear Mama documentary, and Tupac talks about this, that I can't erase something that I technically didn't bring in. The CIA brought this in, so Leon really can't stop something that's going to happen outside of him no matter what.
Speaking of that, that's a great segue to our next clip, because Teddy also said, he's like, I didn't force anybody to like take this drugs. I didn't force y'all to rock it up. I didn't force it into the streets. Y'all say I'm the bad guy, but like I'm not the one who is like making people do this. So let's take a look at Teddy's first scene and Teddy's last scene.
Hey, it's me. I thought I might catch you on your lunch break. I'm at the office. I'll be here watching the clock. If you get a minute, I gotta go. All right, bye.
Are you fucking kidding me? I was lying. He's fucking dead. I shot him twice. I dumped his body.
Hey, Ann.
Steady McDonald. Yeah. Your password is...
Damn.
It's funny
I
to
feel
me
like I didn't
because
see that before. like I didn't see that 5 million times already.
it's also funny to me because Teddy looked like the crackhead in the first scene. Like he just sweating in the middle and sleeping. He looked like he was on the drugs. But I digress. Sean, since you said damn, like Kevin Hart, what are your thoughts on Teddy first scene and last scene?
It's real crazy just to see, he was living this mundane desk life, and then he ended, and like this is what he wanted, right? He wanted to get back in the game, and he got it. Yeah, that's really just what I think. It's crazy. He was on the phone with his wife and he had a wife and kid. I feel like we forget about that sometimes, even though she came back this season. Like he really had like a mundane life and was just desperate to get out of it. So,
Tanae.
I think that desperation will lead you to bogusness. Like, it's really sad because none of this had to happen. Just stay behind the desk, bro. Like, you didn't have to die. You didn't, like, your whole life gets flipped upside down just because you wanted some action.
Mm-hmm.
was it because of his dad though? I feel like his dad put that in his head, like that he was never good enough, right? Like he was always like a fake soul.
100%. You saw that when the dad gave the explanation for why Teddy acted like this. Like you saw it. The dad was the full circle on Teddy's mentality and why he moves like that. I think it's funny though because I feel like Franklin and Teddy both had the same beginning and ending. Like they both had these regular lives, just trying to do whatever. And even though it was clear, stark differences on how it ended, like even if you look at how Teddy looked at compared to that first one, you can tell he was weathered. You can tell he was tired. You can tell he was like he had been so caught up in the money of it that he destroyed himself. And it's the same thing with Franklin. It's not as prominent as Franklin because Franklin was our main character. Franklin was our friend. Like Franklin was our character. Teddy is everyone who we all hated. So to see Franklin go down like that, it's like, damn, Franklin really took a hit. But if you're looking at those two clips together, Teddy really like took a hit as well. It just we didn't focus on it because that's not really who we were like really checking for. So,
but then I think, and I agree with you. I think all of that is true. I think the disturbing part about it is like Teddy doesn't really have a reason for why he does this. Like, you've got a job, you're taking care of your family, like you're doing this just because you don't want mundane. Franklin does it, and it's like it's presented as like this is his way of trying to get out of a messed up situation and trying to get your family out of a messed up situation.
I get it, but I still also think like to Teddy, it's still getting out of a situation, just like Franklin. It's the way to get out of the situation, which didn't work out well for him because of course Sissy came through like Soldier Boy with the gun and
Draco.
Yeah, bow, 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 real quick. So that's still one of my favorite clips to this day. I came in the house, shot him twice. But anyway, Sissy, even though it's gonna bother me because you know how to fuck with Sissy right now. Let's show Sissy's first scene and Sissy's last scene.
How you choose Kraft over Velveeta, I will never understand.
How you doing? What happened? Oh, don't worry about that. Somebody put their hands on you? Just sign the paperwork and give me some indication that you'll do that for me. Huh? Mama.
What kind
kind of fucking mother are you? You're not gonna fucking talk to me? Huh? This is all your fucking fault. You ended my fucking life.
After everything I fucking did for you, you not gonna fucking talk to me? You did this to me!
You ended my fucking life. And Teddy should have blown your fucking head off. Fuck you, bitch.
Fuck you! You fucking did this shit to me! You did this shit to me! You fucking did this! You ended my fucking life! Fuck you, bitch!
Today you can't laugh at that. No, you can't laugh at that. Yo, that was rough. I couldn't. Yo, that shit was rough. That was one of the roughest scenes.
The hardest parts for me to watch. Like the tears in his eyes. It was like, you my mother? Wow. The crack in his voice. I was like, God damn, get a man an award.
And they built it perfectly because you had those 3 scenes. It started with the first one where he was still agitated, but he ain't snapped. You had the one with Leon, and then finally, like, yeah, it was great. Sorry, Tornado. Go ahead.
I want Tanae to answer first because she's clearly laughing. So I want her to react immediately. What's so funny today? Please tell us.
So what's funny to me is that like she starts out, she's seen the first scene we see of her, she's a loving, doting mom, right? And you have him breaking. And don't get me wrong, that's excellent acting. The man needs an award for that. If my mother ever did some crazy stuff to me, I probably would be Leon, like, yo, I'm about to lose it. The humor for me in all of this is the irony of it. Like, it is the inability to see that your mother really offered you a freedom that is invaluable. The freedom that she offers you is invaluable. But the fact that you was just like, oh, he should have killed you is also like a playback. Because Franklin's words, like when you watch his words, it's always some real nasty, vile, demonic, like I'm about to get at you and play at your mind. Because he's saying that because of what she has said to him a couple of episodes before, when she realizes like, oh, Teddy could have killed me, but he didn't value who I was. He just killed your father because he knew your father was valuable. So it's that's the humor behind it, because it's like, oh, you really, Franklin, your words are crazy crafty.
Mm-hmm.
So
I didn't even know that. Like that's amazing. You're right though. They did have that conversation. And you're right about Franklin. He always he doesn't just say shit out of anger. He says shit like to cut deep. Like, and I don't know if he means to either. Like it comes, yeah. That's crazy. That's a good observation though. I didn't even, now y'all want to watch that episode again. But
I can't watch it anymore. But I think it's funny because she walked away from him in both scenes. Like you just see her like walking away. But the first one is because she, he was trying to defend her and she was protecting him. And now he's literally doing the opposite. Like but it both ended up in the same result where she's just like, I have to walk away from you because you're not reacting in the way that you're supposed to. She looked very happy and loving in that first one and fed the fuck up in the last one. Like everybody knows when you have the little phone to your face like this, when you just be like this, because you fed the fuck up. You ready to stop. You just press whatever item you got by your face because you're done. she was done. Like, she was done. Like I've never seen someone done without saying words the way Sissy was done. So her acting is also amazing. But
I just want to say one more thing about that scene real quick. I know you're about to move on, Siobhan, but we were kind of having a debate in the production meeting because there was another scene. Well, eventually went with first scene, last scene, just to tie book and everything. But if y'all remember in season 2, when Franklin got locked up, and it's the opposite. It's Franklin behind the glass. And just seeing that scene is very like crazy to watch those 2 scenes back to back. So that's all.
Sure it tied into, because that's actually what I was thinking about when we were watching that clip. I'm like, I know it's first and last, but it would have been a good comparison to also that scene and this scene.
Yeah.
But yeah, Franklin really, you could see in his eyes, he got the crazy eyes. He's ready to like go. And I just wonder if like now that we've seen so many evolutions of Franklin, we've seen him as the good boy, not drinking, the one who's patient, like, I guess the good boy. I don't know another term right now, and then the drug lord, and then now this alcoholic who's had this fall from grace. What do you think Franklin's legacy will be in all those forms that we've seen him in? Like, what do you think that he will actually be remembered for? Tanae?
He the nigga that brought crack to the hood.
Okay. Tanae was like, that's all I got. Sean?
I mean, I think that's what have you done for me lately, right? Will be, or the last thing you do is the most memorable. So he'll be remembered as like a bum. Like, I mean, I hate to say it. I know people ain't happy about it, but yeah, he's gonna be remembered how him walking down the street to that Kendrick song.
Yeah, like, I forgot what the term is, but when whatever is the last thing you do is the most prevalent, whatever that term is, that I think that's what it is as well. I think that maybe his family and friends will remember him differently, but the legacy is more than just, like, I feel like you're just immediate family, and even most of his family, you can see how Sissy is, you can see how Veronique is, like, his legacy with those closest to him is tainted. So I think he'll be remembered for the good that he did, but also being his own downfall.
But what good did he do?
He gave some kids some free ice cream a couple times.
He did support Veronique. He did all those things for his family and friends. I'm talking about.
Okay, so I guess I'm gonna say this. When you say what's his legacy, I'm thinking that this is the year Paid in Full comes out, right? Like, and we're doing this in that type of frame. And the reality is he's not an Alpo, right? Like, he's not gonna have this type of legacy. He's gonna have the legacy of you brought drugs to the game, to the streets, but don't nobody know where you at. All your family is gone. Your mother took your bid, and your uncle took a bullet, right? And nobody knows where your kid is because
Your auntie took all the drug heat. Auntie got all the drug heat.
Yeah, Veronique being Veronique, she changing names. Like, I think when you think about it, like 20, 30 years from now, if they sat and they wrote or did a documentary like they're doing with BMF, if like this was a real life situation, his legacy is just simply he sold drugs and he turned into a bum.
Mm-hmm. That's why I said legacy to me is a little bit more far-fetched, like not far-fetched, but like more wider of a demographic than just your family and immediate friends. However, I think he did, amongst his family and friends, he did do some good. Like, but the word is also recency bias. That is the word.
Yes, recency bias. Facts. That is
people have recency bias, where it's basically whatever happened recently is what you're going to remember versus historical, like, events.
Yeah.
Okay. We're almost done. I'm getting sad again because I'm like, we brought this back one time, but now we're really have to eventually get off this live.
We got a new show.
We do need a new show.
We got to figure out our next show. Yeah, we got to figure out something else.
We do. I don't have anything right now, but we do. So, poll question. I think Sean already added this poll question out before, but the poll question is: who is the best drug dealer on TV? Was it Franklin? Was it Ghost? Was it Tariq St. Patrick? Or was it Avon? What is your answer today? I'm not asking you first because Sean has seen this, so I need to know your first reaction.
So my first reaction is that it honestly is a tough tie between Avon and Tariq.
Tariq St. Patrick today.
Yes,
Siobhan's
St. Patrick. And so let me explain why. Okay,
please, no.
I need
You
this
need
explanation.
to explain this.
So let me explain why. Avon, I think, is like the typical, like, oh, we think that it probably should be him because he stayed in the darkness. Nobody knew who he was. He was selling mad, all of that. Great. But Tariq, if we genuinely consider what that dumbass boy took from his daddy, right? The mental awareness, that boy has sat and pulled game in so many different ways. And in this season, he's pushing $1 million business.
All right, I'm gonna admit that I don't watch book 2, so like that. So I don't watch book 2, so I'm gonna put that out there to preference that. But
okay.
But Ghost, I mean, look, doesn't he have everything off of the establishment that Ghost built him anyway? Like he wouldn't even. No. Okay. All right.
No. And that's what I'm saying. If we did this based off of book 1, if we did this based off of power, no, Tariq is not in the running. But considering book 2, the boy is running 2 different major businesses. He's maneuvered and pulling game like never before. And he understands long game.
So he's a better drug dealer than his father right now. That's what you're trying to tell me.
Yeah. He's a much better.
I find that so hard to believe. All right.
But it's but I think also this goes into like what Veronique's mom was getting at. Like people who do well in the drug game, they do well because they understand long game and they understand long game quickly.
Okay. I still wouldn't say Tariq, but maybe you make valid points.
Well, you said Avon and Tariq, right? You said both of them.
I said
right?
Avon and Tariq.
Okay.
Like in regards to age, out of the 4 people that were brought up, I'm going Avon. But in regards to like where shows are currently, I'm going with Tariq.
You make valid points. And Tariq is definitely, in my opinion, a better drug dealer than Ghost. I will say that. I
gotta
agree.
watch
Watch it. I think you do need to watch it. Because you're going off the context of power. Like book 1. If you're looking at Tariq in this, he's sloppy to me in some aspects, but he's definitely Ghost should have been in jail years ago or dead. Like Ghost, we actually didn't need like the last season or 2 of power. Ghost should have been dead. I was gonna say Franklin and Avon. And I say Franklin because Franklin was more strategic, and that's why I loved about Franklin's character. He was very strategic, and he had, even though this was a family business, like he still would do his best to take care of everybody. And I feel like the only reason Franklin really went down wasn't because of his own situation, it's because Louie and Jerome broke off and they segregated the empire. Like so that's why I think he's a better drug dealer, a better TV drug dealer than Tariq. But also Tariq been getting on my nerves since book 1. It's really been hard for me to release that. I hold a grudge. So I think that's also what it is to me. I am petty. Okay.
But the real question is, and I would just say this, the real question is not who's the better drug dealer, but who's the better sidekick. Because none of them are anything without the sidekick.
The sidekick? See, I was thinking that.
Avon is nobody without Stringer Bell. What you call him? Ghost is nothing. Yeah.
Ghost needs Tommy.
Yeah. And little white boy off of Power. I don't know what the boy name
Tommy.
is.
Oh, I don't know, little white boy.
No, Power Book 2, Bradley, or whatever his name is.
Branson or Brandon. Yeah, and Stringer Bell. Like, they're nothing without their sidekicks.
100. You know I hate Tommy. And I hate many
You
Tommy.
hate Tommy? What?
I've always hated. Again, I do not like irrational people. Tommy was so emotional, and he would just be killing niggas just because he was he didn't let them talk. Like they just trying to say something, brother. Let them speak. before you kill them. It was just a lot.
And that's, I think, to Siobhan's point, that's what makes Ghost not a good drug dealer, because when you really consider it, him and Tommy should have been underneath the jail. Like, it's just so unrealistic, some of the content they're doing
on this list.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we agree that Ghost. Well, again, I would have put Tariq on the bottom, but y'all is schooling me that Tariq's better than I thought. So leaving Tariq out of it.
Watch the show, and then we can have a powwow because.
All right, so leaving Tariq out of it, obviously.
You talking like a very strategic setup for selling drugs. This boy is a mastermind.
He still sells pills. What does he sell now? Like, is it pills and coke? Like, what's he?
Everything apparently now. Honestly, we don't even know anymore after last episode. It could be anything.
Guns right now.
I'm selling guns.
Guns.
He could be selling people for all we know.
Not human trafficking. Holy shit! All right.
I don't know what's next on this show. It's getting very real. Okay, so our last question.
Well, sorry, Siobhan. I just want to let everybody know the poll is split. Is because I didn't get a chance to post it. But
okay, yeah.
Split.
The reaction.
It's 50-50 for Franklin and Avon. So people are on the fence between both of them. So
yeah, nobody's saying any of
off of real people. And I think that's the other thing too. Avon and Franklin are more digestible because they are closer to reality. And the shows, because they're based off of real humans, what the show is written and how the show is written is based off of like really how things would happen in real life anyway.
Also, it's more realistic because Tariq began to cross from Queens to Yonkers in 20 minutes, and I don't know how. Because we don't got teleportation. I don't care
and they
how much
used to do that in OG Power too. They would go from the city to this bar, the shop in Queens to me, Angie. You'd be like, bro, you would be sitting in traffic for hours.
I don't care how much drugs they sell. They don't have access to teleportation. So, and I can't even get to Harlem from Yonkers in 20 minutes sometimes. So that's a lot.
Oh, yeah, say sometimes because you could get there.
I could.
Not the daytime hours. They be traveling. They be traveling peak rush hours.
And then he get back for class. And why he only got one class? Why he only in that one class? Anyway, so final question. Sean, I'm going to start with you. Will you be watching spinoff?
I need to see more about what it's about before I can say yes. So right now I'm interested because I like the world, but I mean, Franklin was the world, right? So he was the anchor. He was what kept us all interested. So I don't know what the story's going to be, who the stars are going to be. So I can't say yes, but I'll probably check out the first episode at least.
Okay. Today, are you watching the spinoff?
I am like Sean. I'm gonna green light it for the first and the second episode, but I will be honest that we all saw the difference in this world when John Singleton died. So it really is a question for me who's picking everything up. But I really like Wanda, and I want to see where they're gonna go and how is this, like, how are you taking the spinoff?
Do you want to see Wanda in the music game though? Like, I feel like I don't want to see her in the music game. Like, that's just me.
I think that's the question, right? Because like he launches this off that she's in the music game, but like what and why would that matter to us? Other than like the only thing that's gonna matter to me is if like this is gonna be a take on Clive Davis and like what he does in LA. Because I heard those parties are crazy. But if it's not that, I don't know if I really want this.
See, I am the exact opposite. I am going to watch because I'm curious and I want to see what happens. But I don't care enough about Wanda's story for that to really be my draw. Like, if Wanda would have went back to crack, like I thought she would have, then I would have definitely been like, all right, let me see what kind of crack shenanigans Wanda gets into now. But crackless Wanda is not really that interesting to me.
Maybe she's doing more expensive drugs in the music game, right? Maybe she's like doing Molly and lean. I don't know. We're not in that era. What year? See, I need to know more. That's just me. I need to know.
So
more.
So it's gotta be early 90s. It's early 90s. So and I think that's what's interesting to me is that they made it clear that she's in the music industry. And I'm like, I don't remember this girl singing none of these episodes.
None of these episodes. Not one.
None
Not
of
in
these
the baby they
episodes.
had
I
in
haven't
the
seen her
fictional
play an
universe. Nothing.
instrument. The only instrument I ever seen her pick up was a crack pipe. Like, I know Afro beats ain't dropped yet. So what's she doing? She's not bringing Ghanaian music to America. What is she doing? And honestly, with all of these questions, I don't care enough about the answer.
Well, maybe it's rap.
Maybe it's rap. Maybe she's a rapper. That'll be something.
Something is it. Something
Yeah,
ass.
I think the only thing
Ass at the beginning, ass into the new show.
Because when you think about it, I think what makes this interesting is like she genuinely has not sung or done anything this whole series, but now all of a sudden she's in the music industry, and it only makes sense that she either's going to get connected with a Clive Davis type person, or
is that like a manager? What is that? I don't know what he does like that. Is like a manager A&R? Like,
he owns Arista.
Look at Sean face.
Okay.
Like, I'm supposed to know.
I mean, I know that. I just don't know what that would look like for Wanda, I guess. Like, what would that day to day look like for her? Is she finding art? Like, what does that look like as a show? I guess I'm trying to
Y'all are
picture.
having this conversation, and I genuinely.
It's like the only.
I don't think anybody cares like that. I'm just curious.
Janae said literally, I think the interesting part is, and in my head, I was like, wow, I do not think that's interesting at all.
If they draw from real life stories, I feel
like that. You said, I think it's interesting that she didn't mention music at all in this whole series, and I was like, nope, not really interesting is the word.
I think that it's interesting that she did not say anything about music, and Leon says this commentary about her now being in music, and it's just like, where the hell did that come from? Like, to me, it would have been very much more interesting to have said that she was opening up a clinic, or she was saving some babies, or it's just been like, okay, Wanda, that's on par. You a singer? Sis, where?
Maybe she's in management. Maybe she's like, I don't know.
The only way I'm going to care about Wanda and music is if she finds Franklin, cleans him up, and makes him a battle rapper. Like, that's really
her and Franklin don't fuck with each other. That's the one thing I noticed too. Rewatching her and Franklin never fucked with each other. Like, the minute she started stealing from the crack house, he was like, "Fuck Wanda," and she never fucked with Franklin. I feel like after that either. Like, I feel like they could never.
Most of us wouldn't fuck with a crackhead again.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Yeah, he played the hell out of her in that last scene, and he got a bloodshot eye, losing his tone. You just still smoking,
like I feel like that was good shade because they remind you that they don't fuck with each other. That was good shade by him.
That was the best part of the finale for me when he did that when he randomly started pretending to smoke crack. Wow,
that's our thumbnail for this video.
The chocolate comment.
I really hope
the chocolate
that
comment. Yeah, that's
yes,
even like Simone laughed at that.
Nigga like me, okay, Franklin. That's how you feel it.
But the crack, wow. Anyway, I will give it 2 episodes as well. However, Wanda is not the reason I'm watching in any way, shape, or form.
Y'all are generous with 2. I'll be giving it a half.
Maybe that will be our new show. Maybe it'll be good and pleasantly surprise us. And because you know what? It took me 3 tries to actually get into Snowfall. Like, I started watching Snowfall and I stopped. And then I started watching it. I was like, this is so slow. And I started watching again. And then I always get to the episode where they're like, he's at the pool party with his friend, like the guy he sells weed to. And then I'm like, I'm over this. Thank you. And now look
Rob? Yeah.
I don't remember his name, but look how invested I am. So I am going to be hopeful. I'm going to be hopeful. But now this is the real last live stream of Snowfall live reaction. So thank you, Tanae. Thank you, Sean, for coming in front of the camera for one episode with us and being a fake host and making me the panelist on the low. And thanks everyone for watching. We have more content coming out, so make sure you subscribe to the channel and for more Snowfall videos, for more content. And as always, thank you for joining us. Have a great Wednesday.